Hello, this is Brian McHenry, McHenry Software. This is a quick run through of how to set up your first 3D simulation project with the new M3D Graphics version 2.75. What you're watching is a video that is going to be created as we run through this. It should be a very quick, short video, and we hope this gives you a brief and quick introduction to some of the many functions that we've added and enhanced in our project. First thing you want to do is you go and you start from M3D Graphics instead of the old M-Edit 3D Grid. Then up in the upper left corner is Project. We go to New Project. Call this a new one. We go and get the two vehicles for Vehicle 1, Jeep Grand Cherokee 2001. You might double check on your specs if you have other sources, or if you have a different year, use the actual specs to get it. Also make sure you add in for driver and passengers and luggage. Second vehicle, Ford Explorer 2011. Likewise, check your specs and then put in weight. And we finish. Starts as his two vehicles. In order to sync, you notice the wheels look a little out of order. Just run a quick 2D and you'll see that it then loads it and scales the model to your specifications. First thing we want to do is bring in a ground. We can have a blank terrain, terrain from image, terrain from map, as in Google Maps. You can bring in elevations if they're available. Terrain from DXF file. A terrain from point cloud, E57. Or a terrain from a mesh DXF file created from point cloud. We also have the option to manage the visibility, so you can bring in different terrains and try different things, etc. But we're going to go ahead with the picture first, and we're going to get a terrain from image. Go out to the subdirectory images and get a T intersection. Set this. Next, we want to go ahead and scale. So we click on image map drape over here to the right. This is the ground. When you click on the ground, any ground that's available, it brings up the ground dialog on the right. Image map. Set size from points on image. We recommend you put a scale in your actual drawing or picture if you can. But here we'll just figure these are 11-foot lanes. So if we do the approximate distance across, we'll make that 22 feet. Now we want to go to an overhead. And then let's set our overhead for our main view here. Next thing we want to do is set elevation. There's the elevation terrain. Again, click on the ground. Brings up this dialog to the right. Elevations. Zoom out. Put in your 4 corner points. Then let's put a point along the edge. Zoom in a little. And put a bottom of the slope ditch. Now we're going to edit. Click on the point. Then negative is below ground, positive is above ground. So let's make this minus 8 feet. Same with this one. Minus 8. And you'll notice there's also this movement icon, so you can move points. Let's just put that right at the edge, but important for doing it. Now, next thing you want to do is go ahead and make all triangles. Creates the triangles. You double check. You can go ahead and edit, delete, modify, pick 3 points to make a triangle, etc. We go ahead and apply that. Now let's go down to ground level. And now we can set that as view number 1. Again, the home view is here. Now view number 1 is there. And we might even go down a little lower, down into here, and set that as view number 2. You can do up to 4 views. Now we want to position the vehicle, so let's go back to the home view. When you click on a vehicle, menu comes up on the right, which shows all these different icons for different things and lists down here to do different things with your vehicle. And then you can also select different vehicles up here on the top, but here's for specs, model, color, nodes for rollovers, tire marks, and this is for initial position. And when you click on that, you notice it puts a grabber here. So we grab that. Let's move it over to the lane of travel. Let's take this other vehicle, move this over to here, have him at a slight angle. And we check speed. He's at 30. And this vehicle is at 30. So now we just click run. Now we go to the second view and we look and see. Now you see that we have one rolling and then it seems to roll and then is still moving. So one, we want to make this a longer run. And secondly, since it's rolling, we first probably want to go ahead and grab the one that's rolling and click on the structural nodes option. Make sure it's set to structural nodes. I would set them to a half a foot each. And then if you actually go ahead and then you click on the node, close that. Now if we go back to specs for that vehicle, we also want to set the node structural stiffness. Let's set that to 500 because you want to set it lower for more points, higher for small points. And then for the friction multiplier, basically about 0.5, meaning the effective friction times this is what friction you'll get from the hard points. And we say OK. And now we go ahead and, we also wanted to change the end time, so let's change that to 5 seconds. Or let's make it 6 seconds. We say OK. And now it will automatically rerun. And then we have it. Now a couple other things you might want to add. Let's say we wanted to add a house, like over here. So we go into our add other models. Go down and look for a house. The models, and there's objects 3D. The models come in M3D mode, and there's also, you can open DXF. Some of them may be out there. I may have only included model 3D depending on when you installed. These are all going to be out on a repository out on the web, so you can grab other ones, request them if you need some. Any DXF file should work. So we go and we look for the house. There's a house, a 2-story traditional. 48, the scale looks proper, so we bring that in. Now if we go back to the overhead, we grab it, move it to approximately there. Then we want to go down to ground level and set its elevation. So you click on this little moving position. You see that it's underground a little bit. So we set it to right about there. Next we might want to bring in some trees. Notice there's an oak tree, 27 foot, 29 foot, good enough. Grab that, move it to here, and we bring in another one. Move that one to here. Now we can pick a view that we like. I notice we have a spare car here that we just missed. Let's go ahead and bring in a car too. So again, we go to this. We can just bring in a Acura. Now it's 146, so that may be millimeters. That doesn't look like it. Inch to feet, that still's too far, so let's set a factor. Let's try 0.05. 7, that's a little too large, so let's try, it all depends on the scale that was in the original. Try 0.04. There we go, that's about right, 6 feet. Then we can grab that, move it over to this position. Can change the color. Let's make it a white car. Apparently there's more than one that's near white. There we have it. Now we want to go down to ground level and drop that down onto the ground. When you have, for animated ones, there is an option to make them follow the terrain. And then we want to rotate that somewhat. We want to leave that there. Want to rotate it and pitch. Let's go back to overhead. See that we're a little off there. That's why you should always go to overhead. Put it in pitch. Let's see what that looks like now from ground level. Looks okay. So now let's go ahead and look at this one more time. Oh, one other thing we want to do is want to look at the tire marks. You notice how the default is blue tire marks for vehicle 1, green for vehicle 2. You can easily change it. Just click on a vehicle, brings up this menu, click on the tire marks, and let's set it to dash, skid only. Set the first, for vehicle 2, let's set to dark gray. And then for vehicle 1, dashed, skid, change that to black. Now again, we watch the simulation. Now to make a movie, we simply take a view like this. We click on Set Frames to Bitmap Files. Now one thing I will mention is this is not a standard size. I use down here in the lower right, there is a option to set it to use the maximum amount available. But unfortunately, that's not a common for making a video. So we go to Set Size, and we notice what we have right now. The current size is 1079 by 523. So we look, here's one that's 800 by 600. Let's go with that. Close that. And now we want to delete anything out there because it saves, if you notice here, to movies bitmaps. And we're going to go ahead and write that. And then we could do another view if we want. Let's just rotate this around to see them going off the road. And you could put in more trees, obviously. So let's go back to the first frame. And we're going to do a, up here on the top, if you say tracking camera, we can say let's add one. Let's set that for the first. Let's zoom in a little for the second. Third. And let it run along to there. Test it first. And now we go ahead and we say append, meaning add it onto the end. Now when it's done, we click on Write Movie from Bitmap File. You notice it's taking it from there. If you had saved it somewhere else, that's fine. You can browse to that. So we're going to call this, we go to Projects, New One. We'll just call this New One. And it creates it. And when it's done, it tells you the number of frames. You notice also during that you saw that it said sometimes it gives a little, what looks like an error, but let it complete. Sometimes it takes longer, depends on how many frames you have, how fast your processor is. So now if we actually go out to MSoft 3D projects where we save that, again you can save this to anywhere, New One. See there's New One MPG, and there you have the video that you saw at the beginning of this. And that's how easy it is to set up a 3D simulation. Obviously we've pointed out a few of the many options, and there's many more, and we'll be adding more videos to look at some of the older videos. Some of them we started in grid mode, now we're starting in the 3D graphics mode, and we're making things more efficient. But we appreciate you watching. Thank you.